And we are live. Welcome to the Bullets Forever playoff post-game show. This is your host, Mike Sykes here. We may get Jake Whitaker later on tonight. We may get Akbar Nakvi as well later on. But right now, you guys just have me. It's me and you. We're here to, I don't know, man. I'm just in a really salty mood right now. I guess, this is a space that you guys can just grieve in with me. Just drop a comment here with the in the comment section on the post right here, if you guys could, and go check out the recap that we have. I know everyone's probably not really in the greatest of moods at this point, but it is what it is. So by now, most of you know, most of the people watching this know, the Wizards lost to the Hawks 82-81. They fell on a game-winning putback shot by Al Horford in literally the final second of the game. They didn't have any timeouts to advance the ball. Paul Pierce throws it into John Wall. John Wall shoots an air ball, and that is the game. And John Wall did return tonight, so I guess out of everything, there may be a positive or two here that we have. Oh, here's Akbar. Hey, how's it going, man?
Not having the greatest night, but just.
Hey, can you hear me, man?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you for whatever reason.
Because the thing is green, so it should be my voice. Fine. I might have another window open again, so I'm gonna do something about that.
I can't hear you, dude. just keep going without me, really quick.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a tough loss.
You know what? Boom. There we go. You know what it was? I clearly had my audio muted. So, but how you feeling?
God, they had that. I mean, to be fair, a lot of at this point in this game, it's just a matter of 50-50 balls, and 50-50 balls are just that 50-50. They're going to go the other team's way sometimes, and sometimes you just have no control over it, and that's just what happened in this game. And if the one bounce fell the Wizards' way, they could have won, and that's just really hard to grasp. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and there's some positives to take away from this game. At the very end, so.
I literally could not bring myself to do anything, man. Like I just now before I got on here, I was just frozen. Like I don't think I've ever been crushed like that before.
I might have been crying a little. I was fake crying. But
I do that after every loss, man. That's natural.
Just fake crying, curling up to the floor. Just, it was not fun. And the funny part is when Pierce hit that three, I was like, oh shit! 8 seconds left. We know something is about to happen.
Right.
This is DC Sports. There's no way that's going to be the last shot of the game. And of course, unfortunately, my predictions came true there. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I got that same feeling too. But I guess initially they actually did defend the play pretty well. Like Schroeder got in the lane and Wall blocked the shot. They just had to clean it up, and it felt like throughout the night, they had moments like that where they just couldn't clean the shots up. Like you just said, they had to get the 50-50 ball. They didn't get it. It sucks, man, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of people are really mad at Nene, and understandably, that was just a really crushing loss. But I just feel like that was just a case of bad luck. Nene was, he just boxed out the first guy he saw. He didn't see Horford coming in with a full head of steam, by the way. He made up so much ground on that it just kind of shocked him, and he couldn't corral the rebound. And it's hard to see, but it's just I really don't think that possession was his fault. I feel like even if Gortat was in that position, he would lose that rebound because Horford was just coming in so quickly from
I
the.
don't know, man. I just feel like he got to jump there. Like he got to, like he did
I mean, the
not
problem is he
put his
can't.
arm up.
That's
Right. That's the thing. I was
that's-
actually after the play. I'm like, why isn't Gortat in for this? Like we know Nene is
that's the
not a
difference.
great rebounder.
Yeah.
Like that, and I think that's probably where not to blame Whitman for this loss, because I actually thought he coached pretty well. I just think that there were a lot of execution problems, but no, I felt like if Gortat were in, that's a bigger body, not as wide, but it's taller, and he would have had. He probably would like Schroeder may not have even gotten into the lane that easy.
Yeah, that's true.
If Gortat's in, like, and these are big ifs at this point. But I really feel like Gortat was the better guy there. But I just feel like if you're in the name, man, like you said, he didn't know that Horford was coming, but you gotta know, like you know the team is kind of like Horford's going to crash.
Yeah, he was the only. I agree with this fact. He was the only big on the floor, and he should have
Right,
been a little bit more aware of the rebound. But at the same time, he's kind of limited because he doesn't have a very high vertical in the first place. But he definitely should have attacked the ball harder. I think that's a good point people made. I really think that he's being made a scapegoat for this.
Yeah,
it was just a great play by Horford, honestly. More than a bad play by him.
Initially looking at it, like I'm just like over the back, and it looked like because Nene's arm is out here and Horford's leg is kind of like crashing into it, so he can't really get it up. But I honestly, looking back at it a couple of times, because I've watched it over and over and over again because I'm a masochist, I don't know if like that's a 50-50 call right there. And I guess that's one of those things where, if you haven't called it all game, you're not going to call it there. And I guess that's just what they did. And I saw a lot of that on Twitter as well. I think a lot of people were complaining about a foul there and a foul on the initial Pierce turnover, two possessions before that.
Yeah, the calls on both sides in this game weren't very good. At the beginning of the game, the Hawks weren't getting any calls, and then the Wizards started to lose some ground on the refs and everything. It was just a really ugly game all around. Exciting game, but it was just really hard to watch at times.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's kind of been the actual opposite of how the Wizards have been throughout these entire playoffs. Like they've been one of the most watchable teams. And it's just really weird to actually I thought that they kind of reverted to what they were in the regular season tonight. I haven't seen any shot charts or anything like that, or I haven't taken a deep dive into this one just yet, but it really feels like they kind of regressed a bit here tonight. And maybe I guess credit to the Hawks defense or whatever.
Yeah, I think they were the Hawks defense were just getting their hands in everything. And that's how they beat the Wizards in the regular season, by the way. They just got their hands everywhere. The Wizards were flustered. They couldn't do anything. And that's why the small lineup was, I feel like that they didn't go to it soon enough in that game. They should have gone because they were getting bogged down on Nene post-ups and, and stuff. And the Hawks were just swarming the ball and just racking up turnovers. And thankfully they turned the ball over a lot themselves. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But the Wizards had a ton of opportunities to put that game away, and they just didn't take them. And it's just one of those what if games. And this whole series is basically what if. What if Wall was healthy for game 4?
What if Wall was just not hurt?
If Wall was just not hurt, period. I mean, there's so many things in this series that. But there's still 2 more games. Well, there's still 1 more game left and it's a must-win situation. It's at home where they were 29-12 in the regular season, so they have a chance. They're not dead in the water yet, and they've come back from adversity before, so maybe this is good for them. I don't know.
I don't know. I just felt like this was just the classic Wizards loss, man. Like Kyle Korver hits that 50,000-foot 3. He hasn't hit anything all game, and he just hits that one. And then
I would never forget that shot. That shot is like Damon. That shot might be Damon Jones 2.0 for me, even though it was earlier in the game. It's just the the least possible guy you would expect to hit a corner three. The guy you want shooting that shot, by the way. The guy you would like. I was fine that they didn't guard him out there. They shouldn't have, and he just.
He just drained it, man.
Yeah.
Like he drained it like it was nothing. I was just sitting there like, this is it. Like if we lose, this is why. They I think that sparked like a 9-0 run or no, I think it actually went to it was a 12-0 run. And the Hawks were up like 79-76 or something like that. After a couple of possessions after the Horford three, and I'm just like, wow, if they like those 2 3-pointers were just so improbable, but that just flipped the entire script of the game. And then the Wizards they couldn't score. Like the Hawks were really, really active on defense tonight. They were really physical, especially Kyle Korver, which I don't know, like people shouldn't be surprised by that by now. But I mean, what did the dude have, like 4 or 5 blocks or something like that?
It was
wow, man.
Yeah, his defense has been really impressive all season. Honestly, he does not get enough credit for being as good of a defender as he is. And it's been a great battle to see he and Beal just being so physical with each other, trying to deny the ball and everything. But yeah, it was the Hawks were great defensively, were terrific. Horford was a freaking beast at the rim. He couldn't. Yeah. Nobody could get a shot up over him today. It was insane. And he's also a guy that doesn't get enough credit for his defense. He's not, even though aside from tonight, obviously, he's never been a great rim protector, but he's always just been solid in other aspects of defense. And he's been a big part of their defense being top 10 this year. And yeah, the Hawks did a great job. I mean, they looked like the Hawks defensively. Obviously, offensively, they didn't give the Wizards their best shot. And, I guess you could say for like the only game 2 and game 4 is where they really, went off offensively. And even then they didn't seem like peak Hawks, which is still kind of scary. So because even though they haven't really done it all playoffs, you still think, oh God, there's just this one game where they're just bound to score 120 points or something. But still, the Wizards have just that was the game to take. That was arguably kind of a must-win, as close to a must-win as you can get without actually being a must-win.
Yeah. Game 5 is always that critical game. There's that stat that they always like to throw at you every year. Like 80% of the time, the person who wins Game 5 wins the series. And I mean, I guess that's true. Like that doesn't mean lose hope or anything like that.
Yeah, I honestly, those stats can be twisted to mean anything to anyone. So I don't really buy them that much, but they have some merit.
The Wizards could win 2 straight against this team. Yeah. Like this Wizards team, especially if we see the one that we saw in, I guess, throughout the playoffs. If we see that same team, even if we see the one that we saw tonight, they still have a chance.
Yeah,
to win 2 straight games, especially against this Hawks team that's not playing. Like they didn't play well tonight at all. To me, this was a really bad Hawks game to me. Aside from the runs where they capitalized on the Wizards not scoring, and then their insane streaks of defensive play as well. I actually thought that they made Otto Porter. They kind of rendered him useless tonight. Really, yeah, they gambled a bit, letting him shoot the 3 ball and leaving him space, and won. It paid off for him tonight.
Yeah, that's just something Otto's just got to take advantage of, and hopefully he can hit those threes next game, and that'll be big because that's been actually a huge part of this season, this whole playoffs that he's been able to hit those and just be enough of a threat where teams guard him, but the Hawks aren't buying his shooting yet, so he's got to make them buy it. It was nice seeing Wall play as well as he did tonight. Obviously, it was really great to see him play like that, even with a broken hand. But I just feel like not winning that game and having him just do things like dive to the floor, have that one block shot, just give it his all tonight with one hand and just lose that game at the end. That's what really hurts. Probably hurts him, and it probably hurts the entire team. Just to
Yeah, I feel like I don't think they'll get down about it at
it
all,
probably
but it
won't. But it just
it definitely hurts though.
yeah.
You know, like he gave maximum effort, and that's one thing that you definitely have to respect with him. I hadn't talked about this before you got on here, and I'm really glad that you brought it up. But it's I'm just still shocked that he played tonight. To be honest with you, like it was
I'm shocked that he's playing it all in the playoffs. Quite frankly,
yeah,
I
it's
thought he was out,
insane.
honestly. Yeah.
It's insane. Like obviously there were signs today that, pointed to him playing tonight, but at the same time, he's out there with a fractured hand, man. He's diving on the floor, he's blocking shots, he's doing it all, and it's insane the effort that he's putting in for this team, for this moment. Just kudos to him.
Yeah, and you could tell, like, even losing that hand, it kind of affected his shot. I felt like his form looked kind of odd, so he didn't shoot. The Hawks were giving him a lot of space, and he took advantage of that space by not shooting, which was really impressive to me, honestly, because a lot of times when you're given that much space and you're not shooting, that puts the offense in a bind. And Wall was finding cracks in the defense, getting, changing direction, throwing no-look passes. I mean, he was really doing the best he can with what he had, and the spacing in this game was really bad. Even with Drew Gooden at the four, at times it was just really the bench, by the way, did not play well at all tonight. It wasn't really, the whole team didn't really step up. Gortat had an okay game, I think. Beal, even though he had a lot of points tonight, he kind of took a lot of bad shots, especially near the end of the game. So, you just got to bounce back, and hopefully, the home crowd will be, really loud on Game 6 because they really need it. Like, yeah.
Man, I can't believe we lost. It's so crazy because they were up by 9 points with 6 minutes left. Like I don't know. It just feels like we've been down this road before with these guys. Not to say that, we shouldn't be happy with the effort that they put out today, because I think overall, like they could have won the game, obviously. Like they could have won the game.
It was definitely not a lack of effort. So it was just, yeah.
Yeah.
It just happens, I guess.
I had this one panda picture just ready. It was ready, and I just never got to use it because we lost. So
God, that was I just knew that I just knew even when we were up 9 that this is just not safe at all. It never is.
Yeah, I mean, even when we were up 9, they had a lot of moments where they could have
extended that lead, by the way.
Right.
They could have extended that to double digits easily. The Hawks were turning it over. They completely lost momentum, and the Wizards just gave it back because their offense just completely shut down.
Yeah, there were so many moments like that where, Atlanta is just, they weren't the best on offense tonight, but they still kind of manufactured these runs off of simple Wizards' terrible shots and turnovers. Like, I wish they had executed just a tiny bit better tonight on the offensive end. Like, obviously defense wasn't the problem when you're holding the Hawks to 82 points in a game, but I don't know, they just needed that extra oomph tonight from someone. Like they didn't really get it from anywhere tonight. I guess Gortat had a solid offensive night, but then I mean there were just times where he was just kind of ineffective. I mean, then you had Nene, who started off really slow, and that kind of continued. And then I mean Beal, like you said, he had a lot of points, but he also had a lot of shots. There were some bad shots there. Everyone gave a really strong effort tonight, but it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can take some more positive things out from tonight. The defense was great.
Yeah.
most of the game. It was really good. I thought Wall was great tonight. He wouldn't let Teague couldn't was kind of scared to get into the paint. Schroeder was absolutely killing the Wizards, driving to the rim, and he just didn't get there as much today. He was making a lot of mistakes, turning the ball over a lot. I thought who was it? I thought Gortat. I think both Nene and Gortat had okay defensive games. Drew Gooden, was really bad today. That's
Yeah.
also something I have to remember defensively, especially not even offensively. I mean, offensively he was bad, but defensively he was just looking the other way. While Schroeder, I remember there's just this one play where Schroeder blew by his defender, and Gooden was just completely looking the other way, and he just got an easy shot at the rim, and it was just a bad night for him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even though you want him in there to space the floor tonight, like he just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Wasn't very good at all. A lot of people on Twitter were calling for Chris Humphries. I don't know if you
Yeah,
want to take it
I
that
don't really
far.
agree with that. Honestly, I think that's just creating more problems than answers. Just because they thrive so much off of the pace and space offense, and Drew Gooden again, as a player, I think his negatives outweighs positives, but just him existing on the floor creates an impact for the entire offense. So you got to live with his mistakes, I think.
Honestly, I felt like we didn't see enough of Pierce and Porter as a combination, as a forward combination tonight, and I thought that we saw too much of Gooden and Porter.
Yeah.
Especially with Sessions and Wall. Like the Hawks were not worried about anyone shooting the ball
Yeah.
at that point. And I don't think you can have that lineup out there and expect to be productive on offense.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like at this point, it's Sessions. Well, yeah, I understand why. He's playing both guard spots. They don't really have other options aside from him, but yeah, him playing with Wall, I just don't see how that lineup really is working out unless you have, um, I guess, both Pierce and Porter. Because if you have the thing with Gooden is like he spaces the floor, but he's not really respected in the same way that Pierce would be at the 4 spot. So
Right.
Sessions is not as effective if you put Gooden there instead of Pierce, and it becomes a little much harder for Porter to cut and everything. So yeah, I think they were, yeah, there were some lineup issues today, and I think Randy for the most part actually did a decent job. I think he's done a great job all playoffs. He deserves credit for how well the Wizards have played, definitely. But tonight there were some problems I had with the rotations, definitely. So
Yeah, there were definitely problems. But one thing that you just mentioned, the cutting, I think they had that backdoor cut
yeah,
all night tonight. Like
that's true.
they really worked that one. They just didn't convert on a lot. I think there were like 2 that they didn't convert on. Like, and it really was a function of Wall getting into the lane after a solid screen. And I think that's because of the space that you actually just talked about, where the Hawks players were they weren't really going under, but they weren't under the screen. They weren't really playing him extremely aggressively though. Like they didn't try to trap him or anything tonight. They just gave him the space to kind of eat up, and he used that to go back into the middle of the lane, and that kind of balanced the floor out and brought the defender at the rim up, so that space for the backdoor cut was opened up, and they really had that a lot tonight. Like I expect to see a lot of that in game 6 now. I guess I just had a really bad math moment or whatever. I was about to say game 4, but
I think next game their offense will perk up a bit, and defensively I think they'll be able to. I mean, I don't think the Hawks will score 82 points again, but I think the Wizards have enough defense to hold them. It's just matter of whether they can hit their threes, and one, hit their threes, and two, take the threes, because they weren't really getting a lot of looks tonight. And yeah, I guess the series isn't over, and I still think they can do it. But Yeah, tonight was really, really hurt.
Do you feel like Whitman has kind of gone away from the lineups that have really been productive? Just a bit like the Pierce Porter combination. Like I think Otto had that one bad game last game. We only saw 19 minutes of him. And then tonight, like he had a similarly bad game, but I also think that he didn't really get the opportunity to play with Pierce too much tonight.
Yeah,
Like I feel like he's kind of I don't know, he's scrambling a little bit here, if you get what I'm saying.
yeah. I think Whitman is sort of. I have a kind of a. The only issue I've had with that small lineup thing is he seems to be really strict about just going to it at the end of quarters mostly, and I feel like he went small early 2 games ago, and they won that game. The game where they won, and they were essentially destroying the Hawks most of the game because he went small early, and I feel like he needs to do that more. Obviously you want to get Nene touches, and you want to keep him happy, but I feel like at this point you want to start Nene and Gortat for say 4 or 5 minutes, and then just have one of them on the floor at all times, just one, and just go small from there.
I honestly felt like we saw too much of Nene
Yeah,
tonight and in the last game. Like
yeah,
I don't think Nene needs to. I don't think this is his series.
I really don't. Especially like at the 5, it makes more sense because he's better at switching on to smaller players and everything. But offensively, it's just not the same. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have to. I'll be right back. I have to get my charger because I'm on
Okay.
5% right now.
All right. Go ahead. But yeah, like I said, I felt like we saw Nene too much tonight. He had 29 minutes tonight, and just I don't know, man. It just feels like they were able to kind of take advantage of him on both ends. I think that the Wizards kind of attacked that post up matchup a bit too much, whether it was on Schroeder, I mean not Schroeder, but Ontage or
Yeah,
Muscala. I don't. Akbar, do you remember when the Hawks went with Mike Muscala and they went with Pero Ontage on the floor at the same time? Like, did the Wizards? Do you feel like they took advantage of that at all?
they should have taken advantage of it on the pick and roll, and they tried to take advantage of it on post ups. And I feel like this has always been an issue with them. Like every time there's a mismatch on the floor, they try to just exploit it with isolation. And in today's league, teams will. That's why teams will just take that 24/7. That's why they're more willing to play guys like Muscala or Antich and that's why they're also willing to play small because in today's NBA, a post up is essentially,
So
even
least
though
efficient
some guys
player.
are really good at it, and it's not a horribly inefficient shot. I mean, it's average efficiency in comparison to everything else. But they would just rather have that than everything. And I think the Wizards just fell right into their hands, especially with a team like the Hawks, who kind of just swarm the ball and get their hands in there and just thrive. If the ball stops, then you are in trouble.
Yeah.
And the Wizards just got themselves in trouble with trying to isolate Nene a lot today. And
Yeah, Nene has this terrible habit of just like he tries to I guess he tries to drive into the like there's always a defender that goes to his weak side and like he always drives that way.
always
I don't know
tries
why.
to help. It's so. I mean, it sometimes works because he finds shooters and finds cutters that way, but I mean, it's so dangerous. You can turn the ball over so easily, and tonight it was just a disaster on
Yeah.
all fronts. Yeah, Nene's just not much of a post up player, especially in the low post. When you get it to him in the high post and on the elbows, I think you have more production out of him. But you just gotta get it out of his hands quickly because I just don't see him being this guy who just holds the ball for 8 to 10 seconds of possession anymore. So yeah.
Uh, I'm trying to think of positives, but I'm like reaching right now. Like I really can't Like the best thing that the Wizards have going for them to me is that John Wall is back in the lineup again, and hopefully, he and Brad can have one of those games where they're just great in unison. John Wall started off pretty well, and I thought his jump shot was really nice early on.
Yeah. I thought his jump shot was going in. Although at the same time, I did feel like his release was kind of slower. Am I the only one who kind of saw that?
No, it was weird because I tweeted this, like, it was slower, but there was so much more arc on
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. That's what.
and it was dropping. I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. It was good. He seemed he used his left hand to dribble a lot today, so that was really encouraging. He went to his left a lot because the Hawks were shading him that way, and thankfully no one tried to smack his hand today, which was really, which was appreciated.
He actually said that he got hit on the hand several times today.
He did. Oh, he did.
Yeah, he said that.
Oh.
That's what I just saw from.
Like no anyone blatantly smacked his hand.
Yeah.
I said today that like if the Wizards end up winning the series, which of course there's a lesser chance of that now, but still possible. I'm like terrified of what guys like Dunleavy or Noah or Perkins or whoever is going whatever they're gonna try to do to him. So yeah, there's that.
If the Wizards get to the next round, they're going to the finals. I'm guaranteed. Unless they play Cleveland and Dellavedova just puts everyone in the leg lock.
Oh yeah, Dellavedova too. What he'll do to him? Yeah.
Did we cover everything, man?
Did we cover? What else was there? I feel like Gortat offensively was really good again after that really, really bad game 4.
He was way better. Like, we have to give him credit. I don't know if he was really, really good.
Yeah.
I did think that he was a lot better. I guess that's not an indictment on him, right? Because nobody was really, really good tonight. But I just feel like there were so many opportunities for him and Nene as well to kind of just make a play, and they just didn't do it. But no one did. So maybe it's just me being pessimistic. That's probably what this is. Like, if I'm being pessimistic, just tell me. Just tell me to shut up.
No, I think you're okay, and it's understandable. So yeah,
man, that one shot that Nene had right at the rim, that would have put the Wizards up. I think it was up 2.
Oh, that one brick he threw up. Is that what the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I knew he was going to miss it. I knew he was, because there was a defender in front of him. He wasn't going to jump.
It wasn't even close. That's the worst. That was the worst part of that shot. Just bricked it right off the rim. Oh,
I was hoping that he would have enough energy for one of those Nene dunks, but all for naught.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope he can get back home. I hope he can get back home to DC safely tonight. because because he's got some people going for his head right now. So
apparently John Wall's having a really good presser right now. I don't know what he's saying. Someone tweet us and tell us what he's saying if you're watching it at the same time as you're watching us. I imagine that it's probably, I don't know. How would you feel if you're John Wall tonight?
Oh, I don't know. He really did put everything on the floor tonight.
Yeah.
It's just hard. But he's the kind of guy, he'll ride and die with his teammates. And I'm sure that he still thinks they'll win. He's very convinced that they'll win this series still. He's just that kind of got that kind of confidence in him. So, I think he'll get over it, and hopefully, the rest of the team can bounce back, and they have a game at home right now. They have a chance to just in front of their home crowd extend this series, and after that anything could happen. It's a game 7, and yeah.
Is he on the level in DC sports fan lore as is he on the same level as Gilbert Arenas at this point to you? Because he is to me.
Oh God, Gilbert was. I mean, Gilbert. He also did a lot of outside stuff because with his blog and his
Yeah,
and
that helped.
everything. So
That really helped.
that helped. But in terms of on court value and on court and the jersey, I don't know about jersey sales, but about the numbers specifically. But it seems like a lot of teams put his jersey on. A lot of fans put his jersey on. A lot of fans know who he is. He seems really well known around the area. So yeah, I would say that he's definitely on the level of other DC sports stars. I think. In fact, I think he might be the most famous one right now. Maybe he's maybe up there with Harper and Ovi and Harper are pretty up there. So
Everyone cares about RG3. Everyone doesn't like him, but
I mean they care.
everyone
Yeah,
cares about him.
that's. I mean that's a. I guess you could also say that. Yeah, I mean he's definitely up there in DC sports lore, and I think he's near the top in terms of most well known athletes right now. But
Yeah, man. I hope this guy's a Wizard forever. Like I really do. If he leaves and whatever, but he's just great. He's great. Uh, I'm just really impressed with how much he cares about the team and how he put his career in jeopardy tonight. I don't know if he can break his hand to the point where he can't play anymore, but
yeah, I saw something like I don't know. It was from a doctor who's like familiar with this stuff, but I saw something like he put his hand bones at risk for dying or something. It's like your bones dying. Apparently that can happen,
wow.
and like if he hit it the wrong way, that could happen to his wrist, and that could like put a lot of long term implications or something. Maybe I'm just overly scaring myself, but that's what I read, and yeah, I mean, there were risks tonight, and if one bone gets displaced, I mean that's surgery.
Yep.
I mean, that's missing some training camp and off season probably, and he's really risking it all right now. And and we got to remember the Wizards aren't really um, in it for this season, if we're being honest. But he's still putting it all in, and it's really he's a warrior. Um, I don't know if it's the right decision necessarily, but it definitely shows him as just a guy that just cares so much about the game and cares about his teammates. And I really hope that we really this is the series that changes his perception in terms of character, if it hasn't already. I'm assuming that people, see him as a high character guy now, but they definitely will after this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I tweeted before the game, like I don't necessarily think this is the best decision for him.
Yeah.
Especially considering the long term. Like I don't know what can happen. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that he can turn those non-displaced fractures into displaced ones, and like you just said, that means surgery. That could mean long-term damage if it's broken bad enough. I'm just, I don't know, man. This guy is great. He's great. He's great. Why? Like I don't agree with the decision, but I for sure respect it. I respect the hell out of it. Uh, I I guess we covered everything there. I don't know.
More or less.
Yeah. Game 6 is on Friday. I don't know the time though. Do you know the time off the top of your head?
I do not.
Okay. Let me get it real quick before we get out of here. Hopefully, that the fans turn out at
7
Verizon.
p.m. Friday at 7 p.m. So
Yeah.
that's an early. Well, that's kind of worrying for the fans because they show up. They always take a long time to show up to those 7 p.m. games.
Yeah, man. DC traffic around 7 is just it's awful.
Yeah, I was at the game. I was at the game. What was it? Monday night, and fans didn't really pile in until like the late second quarter. It was pretty like fully, and it was pretty empty aside from that. But yeah, I hope they can. They've had the fans have kind of been up and down this playoffs. Last year they were really good. I
Yeah.
felt like, at least for the first two games, because it was just like the first playoff series. I feel like this time they've been kind of disappointing in a way, but you know, it's game 6. You know, and it's the season on the line, and hopefully they'll turn up and they'll be loud Friday night. So
Yeah. So, like we just said, Game 6 is in DC on Friday. If you're going, please go there, be loud, yell at Hawks players, especially Al Horford. Just let them know how you're feeling right now. Um, Thanks for joining me tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I definitely needed someone to vent to. So,
yeah. Good.
thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for watching. We will see you on Friday.